Are you struggling with golden items in D4? Well, you can always throw your wallet against the wall. Use my code for a discount. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel once again. So today we are gonna have a look at my season 5 Theorycraft for my all-time favorite core skill, and that is Rend. Rend is so much fun, and it is so satisfying with the tempers that we got in season 4 for Rend size to just take your weapon and slash across the whole screen, you know. And so I'm super excited that Rend will actually have its place in season 5, and especially if they promise to rework uniques like the Ring of the Ravenous to give us more duration, for example. That's like what we need the most, right? Because we don't have any temper like flight duration, right, for the Rend. So that's why it fell off against basic skills, because the duration on our bleed abilities is just super important. And the bread and butter of this build is creeping death. Now this build, if we choose to play with Penitent Greaves as well, has up to 7 different crowd control effects. So we can get 320 multiplicative, you know, damage increase against enemies. And then of course when enemies are unstoppable or bosses are staggered, which they will be staggered in like a millisecond, right, we will get the extra damage there as well. So I'm like super excited. I hope you can see it on my expression, but I'm like red baby. So yeah, let's get right into it. Crown of Lucian. This is like the best item in the game. It's so overpowered. This will definitely get nerfed a lot, but it will still be good. Like, unless they over nerf it, then it gives us max resource. It gives us the resource cost reduction, which even with the increase to the cost is actually making the cost lower, you know. So that will be definitely a must-have, so that we can sustain Fury on our Rend even without using Starless Skies, right? Because there are simply better items to play to increase the damage. So this is an awesome item. Then Rage of Harrogate for the cooldown reduction, and of course the quite a big DR it gives us. Then on our gloves, attack speed, crit strike chance, Rend. Here we are actually masterworking on Rend. And this is where the fun begins, right? So we are taking the temper, chance to freeze, and also playing the exploiter aspect, because increased crowd control duration helps us stagger the bosses faster, and with increased crowd control duration we will even have like easier time overlapping several CCs on top of each other, right? So that we get like the max out of the creeping death aspect. Then on our pants, we are going for Iron Warrior because we are playing Iron Skin, right? So we need that synergy for extra DR, for the unstoppable, and playing chance to immobilize. Like, it doesn't matter, you know, how you shift these, but we want a different kind of CC on our 2 items, and we don't want it to be slow because we already have that from our skill tree, and we don't want it from to be stun because we will also get it from our skill tree. So it has to be freeze and immobilize, but you know, you can it doesn't matter where you get it, just get it. Then on our boots, going for Warcry, there of course this is still a build aimed at 100% uptime to Warcry because it's extreme damage buff. Going for the concussive strikes aspect here, another source of CC. It will also make us do 20x more damage against dazed targets. And here I actually went for the temper crowd control duration, because now we already have 45% crowd control duration, which is absolutely insane. For our two-handed mace, we are going for Wanton Rupture aspect instead of accelerating, which is something that we did in the past, because now that Wanton Rupture on a two-hander actually means that we can rupture every 8 seconds. You know, we will have insane attack speed from the rupture itself, because for 5 seconds it gives us 40%. Right, so we are no longer playing accelerating, so it is Wanton Rupture on the two-hander, and on one of the two-handers we want GA on vulnerable damage. That will help us reach precisely on 1 point the cap for our hemorrhage board. Crit strike damage temper, rend size temper, which is what I talked about and which is a lot of fun. Then on our one-hander, one of them, well, the other is Ramaladni. We cannot choose what it is. Ramaladni is a sword. So the other simply has to be a mace. Okay, mace. Why? Because this will help us through our skill tree do stunts. So that's another source of CC. So, you know, again, we are staggering even faster. Again, we have more damage through creeping death. The aspect here is inner calm. Now, the temper here can be either Rupture size or Rend size. Then Ramaladni. Now Ramaladni turns all of our theory into more damage, right? So we definitely want GA on the Max Fury here and Masterwork on it. This goes super well with the Crown of Lucian, which also gives us max resource. And, you know, as I said, they promised to boost alt uniques, to rework them to match, you know, all the new items that are just so overpowered that most of the times you don't even want the unique. Like the normal item with all the tempers is just stronger, right? So if they boost this to like 0.5%, that we will get like 130 or 140x damage, right? So that would be great. Then for the gems, as always, if you don't feel tanky enough, you play rubies, and you know, the safer you feel, the more rubies you will get rid of in favor of amethyst for more strength, which will turn into more damage, right? And on our weaponry, we are going twice for vulnerable, and the rest is crit strike damage. Now, I am also going for a lot of damage over time instead of actually getting the affixes for crit strike damage, because crit strike damage, I already explained in previous videos, only figures in our bleeds as the gushing wounds multiplier, but it does nothing for our additive bucket. So if our additive bucket is very small and weak, then yeah, there's kind of nothing to multiply, right? So I am actually going for some damage over time affixes here to reach that additive bucket, right? Because we lost like 1,000 vulnerable. We lost 1,000 of additives because they capped hemorrhage node. So yeah, that's I think this is the best way to get it. And the temper here, berserking duration, because then together with our Paragon Board, if we just use Steel Grasp once, we pretty much reach the cap of 5 seconds. We cannot go over, so the berserking duration will not give us you know, berserking for forever through Warcry. It will still cap at 5 seconds, right? But overall, because there is no temper to boost our rend damage, this is the best choice. And of course the aspect is creeping death. Now for a ring, crit strike chance, we need to masterwork there. We really want to reach again close to 80%, or preferably even a little bit over 80% crit strike chance, unbuffed. Attack speed and Warcry cooldown reduction, super important as always for the uptime to be 100%. And the aspect is Bolt Chieftain, because we are playing 2 shouts. The shouts will help us reduce the cooldown of our iron skin, which will work well with the Iron Warrior, you know, so still the same goodies. Because we are also playing the Martial Glyph, right? So yeah, like uptime on all of our skills through this aspect. Then Ring of the Ravenous, because it gives the most amount of crit strike chance you can get on a ring. It also gives us 3 ranks to Brawling, which further increase the damage through our Warcry, and it gives us the Rend's duration, which is an insane boost to our damage. In Season 3, each second actually equaled to pretty much precise 20% damage increase. So yeah, like this is a must-have, and I really hope they will boost this to 8 or 10 seconds. You know, like just give us fun, give us fun. So yeah, and then the last item, you can see on my amulet here, I'm actually playing cooldown reduction instead of heavy-handed, because we lost the cooldown reduction from our Shaco, right? So yeah, like if you get heavy-handed, it's still gonna be really good, but I think for the uptime of our abilities, cooldown reduction will be the better choice. But yeah, either cooldown reduction or heavy-handed, both are great. right? And then crit strike chant and cut to the bone. And I'm actually going again for the crowd control duration. So we are at 70% crowd control duration. Absolutely bonkers. We'll just look at the boss and he will already cover in fear and just get absolutely decimated. The aspect here is slaking, because it not only gives us all that fury, you know, generation through our Rend, it also gives us max fury, which further helps Ramaladni. Now, for the skill tree, nothing crazy really, just 2 points anywhere to get to our Rend, then maxing out on Rend, Enhanced Rend, and Violent Rend, then taking all the, you know, defensives and all the damage multipliers that we can get on the Paragon board, following the exact same rule as we did with all our other builds. And the change here is that I actually put 3 points into Prolific Fury, because we no longer has the resource gen on our Shaco, because we are not playing Shaco. We don't have resource gen on our rings, which we used to play in the past. So Prolific Fury will definitely be very strong option, and I think a must have. But if it turns out that we can live with just 1 point in Prolific Fury, then yeah, we can just pump, you know, Slaying Strikes for some more damage. Then, of course, Rupture, the explosions, the attack speed that we want, you know, everything's pretty much the same. And then we are taking 1 point into Envelop. Does not really matter all that much. The 5% doesn't work for the damage over time effect. It will only boost our direct damage of Rend. But what we really want is 3 ranks into Concussion, because that gives us the stun. Because we are dual wielding with this build, of course, because we need Ramaladni to be our weapon of choice to get the extra multipliers, and the other weapon is Mace. So yeah, we will be CCing enemies a lot, and then ending with Gushing Wounds, because this is a bleed build. Of course, I have other versions of the build also, by the way, if you want to check, because this one has 6 different CCs, but we can also use Penitent Griefs, right? So you just use the drop down menu, and yeah, here we have Penitent Griefs, right? So we have chill effect as well. So that's another CC. It will also help us stagger the boss, because this is proccing non-stop, right? And whenever the boss is staggered, we will get the 15 axe against other enemies. We pretty much have it non-stop, so that's another option that we can play. But for now, I think that normal boots, thanks to having another aspect available to us, will simply be better. And then for the Paragon board, now you can see that I am not playing Exploit anywhere. Now, before you ask, the reason for that is that, yeah, there's no reason to play Exploit. Like, 1 Steel Grasp will make everything vulnerable, and then every time we hit enemies with Rend, the vulnerable will be extended by 2 seconds. So just 1 Steel Grasp and then just Rend. Everything is vulnerable at all times, right? So we don't really need Exploit. It doesn't do anything for us, and we are already, as you can see, reaching the cap of 45%. So it's kind of a dead glyph right now. Or, well, not dead, but yeah. So yeah, we are starting with Breath, crit strike damage, of course, Gushing Wounds build, we want that, plus the Fury gen really helps us. Then we are going up to Carnage. We are using the Revenge glyph here, which synergizes with our Rage of Harrogate. It boosts all the surrounding nodes, so it's definitely a great choice. Here we are taking the attack speed that we need. Then we are going up, taking Warbringer, because we need all the extra max fury, you know, the fury on kill, and of course it gives us some extra life as well, and it passed super nicely for the Iron glyph through resistances to all elements, so that we can reach the cap without any consumables, which is what most people are asking me to do anyway. So this was my choice this season. Iron will also, you know, help us reach that 300 damage while berserking for our Blood Rage node, which is our next board, which turns all our zerking into multiplier. Here we are taking the martial glyph, which is boosting all of the DR, you know, the damage to bleeding enemies around. And then we are not going up, we are not going right, we are actually going back to Carnage, and here we are connecting Bonebreaker. Now the the order is actually important, right? It has to be the 5th board so that we can easily proc this and get another 4% extra life through the tenacity rare node. And then we go finally for Decimator, taking the legendary node here as well. Of course, taking all the extras with DR, which we are boosting with ambidextrous, not might. Because yeah, ambidextrous is the same as might, but for dual wields, right? So yeah, we are boosting all of these nodes to reach our precise caps and ending it with hemorrhage. Now again, I have also a drop down menu for Paragon Board, so you can also choose to play this one, which has more HP, around 10% more HP, a bit more additives, but it doesn't reach the cap. It doesn't reach the cap, and it has less max fury, right? So it's like tankier, it's tankier, but less damage, right? So yeah, you can choose whichever one you want to play. So this is it for the build. I hope you enjoyed the video. There will be many more videos to come, a lot of season 5 Theorycrafts, and then of course the season 5 builds themselves. You know, I am also planning to make the video because a lot of people are asking me to show precisely how much more damage the whirlwind build deals with polearms over grandfather, because a lot of people just want to use the grandfather, right? But yeah, TLDR, I do half. Like my bleeds do half of the damage when I'm using grandfather, right? So yeah, we are just not using it unless they really change it. But for now, even if I like create a new weapon, grandfather, you can see it is still 100% X. If they change it to 200% X, it's a no-brainer. It's gonna be the best item, right? But for now, it's just not. It's just not. A lot of stuff might still change, obviously, because yeah, this is just like the PTR that we have right now. The PTR in general is a complete whack. so yeah, all of the Theorycrafts, take them with grain of salt. So once again, thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Ciao.